What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cubana Ike.
Yeah, this your boy. Ike love make you happy. You know how we do it.
All day long. And this is Because I Said So, the podcast with a male and a female point of view about parenting. What's up, Ike?
Man, so we're just going to jump right into it, man. With everything's going on right now about just racial tension, just police brutality. So as parents, we're just going to talk about, like, what is it like raising a child, living in America today.
Yeah. This shit is low-key, kind of fucked up. I know we both have male sons. Like, we have male children. We have sons.
Right.
And so it's like, for me, as a black woman, it's so disheartening for me to watch everything that's like how it's unfolding and what's going on. I'm scared for my son to grow up.
Yeah. Like, the crazy thing that I always think about is just like, look, as a parent raising, a black child, black man, just like, look, no matter what he does, he can, go to the finest education, be good parents, all that. Mm-hmm. He's still gonna have a target on his back. So, it's gonna be, a target for the rest of his life. So, like, how do you tell a kid that's innocent to, violence, crime, they don't know anything? It's just like, look, somebody's gonna not like you because the color of your skin, or you're gonna get, different treatment just, because you're black.
Yep. I know when my son, one of his questions was, first of all, I didn't realize that he knew for real what was going on. Like, I kind of was like oblivious to the fact that he ain't slow. He got an IG account. He got his friends. Right. He got 2K. He got Fortnite. They definitely make their stance on those video game platforms. So I guess it just was, for me, I was just like, praying that he was just staying innocent. When he came to me, I was like, how come the police not getting consequences for their actions? But if I do something wrong, I got consequences for my actions. Like, I get in trouble if I do blah, blah, blah. Okay.
That's mine.
Yeah, so I had to have a conversation with him that he's only 10 years old. I didn't think that it was time to have that conversation, but I feel like if a kid come and ask you a question, then it's time to answer that question, honestly. So it definitely, was an eye-opener. One, I'm even more now scared for him. I didn't realize how woke my kid was. So until we had that conversation. But it was definitely a conversation I had to have with him. Like, look, you black. And at some point you become cute to a criminal. Mm-hmm. And no matter what you do, no matter how you say it, no matter how respectful you are, no matter, like you said, how educated you are, how well-dressed you are, it won't matter. You're still black. You're still, dangerous to them.
So, like, with my son, he is completely, I would say, oblivious to the facts. So, he lived with his mom for, 7 years, of his life. So he lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So he's conditioned to just these things that, okay, everybody's all together, he's not able to, see, okay, the stuff that we see in the big city where you get racially profiled, you get stopped. In the smaller city, it is a lot of tension, but you get the perception that it's just like, well, we only got 2 or 3 blacks in the area. We know them. They decent people, because usually them people, they ain't really trying to, not all the time, but they not moving up in the working class, X, Y, and Z. They just okay, they straight or whatever. So when I try to talk to him, I just be like, look, do you understand what's going on? How do you feel? And he's just like, look, I know people, losing life and getting killed, but at the same time, to him, he just okay, people die every day. He don't understand it, that, look, when he gets 16, when he get a car, if it's a nice car, he gonna get pulled over because he black. Mm-hmm. And just him, he light skinned, he look mixed anyway. So it's just just trying to, I know he's gonna get certain privileges, I say it all the time, get certain privileges, you do so, get passes, but got a light-skinned kid, he got freckles.
So is it a different standard if you're light-skinned opposed to dark-skinned?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a different standard, but me, being light-skinned, I felt like I didn't get harassed as much, or would say, it took some threat off. versus I felt like if I was darker skinned, I had dreads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm walking down the street, you know, clean cut, fair skin, polo shirt, you know, I think it's a big difference the way the racist society sees a black man if they have long hair, you know, and different type of clothing on, whatever that day, do-rag, stuff like that. And just like looking at the tapes, I'm just trying to show my son, like, look, it ain't always about how you carry yourself, but, you know, you can talk, you can speak, you know, but sometimes it's just like, no matter what we teach them, it's still not enough. So, like, how do we move forward? You know, as a black community, like, how do we move forward, especially for all the fathers that's not stepping up, that's not in their lives? Like, if I'm struggling having this conversation with my son, and, you know, I done been experienced racism, I done had some friends that, you know, I thought was cool, and they was racist. So, like, where do we stand? Like, where do we go now? Like, you know, is it even to the point where it's just like if my son said he wanted to be a police officer, you know, would I be like, okay, like, that's cool?
So my son actually has said that to me more recently than before, because he used to be like, I'm gonna be an architectural engineer, mommy. I'm gonna build a house, and I'll build your house behind my house so you can help me and my wife raise these kids. Like, that's in his head.
Oh, he talking about kids, everything right.
My son know, he's like, I got to be married, I got to do this, I got to do that. But with the recent events, he's like, well, if I'm a police officer, maybe I can make a difference. Maybe I can have a bigger voice. Maybe, you know, I can hold my counterparts. He doesn't say counterparts, but, you know, in so many words, right. I can hold those people who I work with accountable. Like I said earlier, it just makes me scared. It makes me scared for my son, because I can see that in his head, like, he's thinking, I got to do something. Like, it's up to my generation to do something, because my mom and them, they out there marching, they protesting, they only buying black, they trying to make sure it's right, they purchasing homes, they trying to set up this generational wealth that, you know, their parents didn't have. So I can see that he sees that. So for me to hear him be like, I want to be a cop, I kind of be like, I don't want you to be a cop. I was cool when you said you want to be an engineer. Right, yeah. But now you telling me so you want to be a cop. I don't want you in that.
So it's just like, okay, now the next question is, do cops have a voice? So if it's many, you know, African American cops, so, you know, it just was a story out where a young man, I believe it was in Munster, Indiana, or whatever. So, like, he was in a mental war. You heard of the story? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I guess he attacked another nurse who was an African American. You know, he was already mentally unstable, and you know, the security guards came in, and they was, you know, doing their job trying to help. But in the process, he was murdered, he was killed, and the other security officer was killed. So now it's just like, okay, you got a young black man, just graduated, then you have two, you know, retired police officers who are black men. It's just like, where was their voice heard? Like, how's we getting this shit wrong?
Yeah. So I actually went to high school in Indiana. And I'm going to say this much. They don't really give a fuck. First of all, Indiana is the home of the Ku Klux Klan. So let's start there. So if you know any history, that's just what it is. Yeah. And so I'm going to put it out there. But I went to high school there. So I remember going to a high school in Kankakee Valley, Indiana. When you walk in the fucking high school, it says Kankakee Valley Cougars, Cougars spelled with a K, on the back of the damn gym. Okay, so when you walk in, and I go to a Catholic school that's majority Mexican, and it's a couple white, a couple blacks sprinkled in there. When you walk in and you see KKK, I'm ready to go. I'm from Chicago. We ain't got this type of situation here. Gee, Indiana is a fool. Like, there's certain parts of Indiana that's predominantly black. You got your Gary, you got your Hammy, you got your EC, which is East Chicago, Indiana. But majority of Indiana, racist as hell. So for me to get on, first of all, I saw the story first on Facebook. Right. So when I first saw the story, so then I was like, let me go do some research. What happened? It actually turns out that the bullet that killed that this retired police officer, because he was retired,
right,
was from his security, his other security guard.
Partner, right?
So from his partner. So I'm thinking in my head, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. Did fam really was he really shooting at the patient, or did he aim for the officer?
Well, so I think that it was just like this is the problem that, you know, as parents, like, becomes a struggle. So you know, all our kids, you know, they watch YouTube, all that stuff. So like if you go on YouTube and you view how officers handle, you know, other counterparts, white people, it's a lot more relaxed and patient. But my understanding from the research I did, the story was when he came in, the kid, the boy had him in a chokehold, and the other security guard, instead of, you know, trying to use a taser, whatever they have, could have called a doctor, tranquilizer, whatever they had, he just shot him in the face. Like, you know, like it was some
he thought he had good aim
type action damn movie or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
but it's stories like that. It's stories like that that make me concerned about my son saying things like, "I want to be a cop." Yeah. I'd be like, "What? You want to do what?" I don't like that. I don't like that.
That'd be a big no for me right now. You know, and I really understand it. Like, if you a cop, I'm not bashing no police officers right now. I understand that everybody got to do a job, but you know, but the question that we were just trying to get to was, if you're a black officer, do you have a voice? You know, we just had our you know, Eddie Johnson in Chicago. He was a police chief, so he's no longer here. Now we got another black guy, and it's just like nobody's hearing them. They did all this looting and robbing and stealing, and then people that's protesting, you know, out there, you seeing people, the black officers, they got to go right back into the same neighborhoods that was looted. So you got white officers out there, and they just using the location at 87 when that jewels and everything got looted, stuff like that in the city. They don't give a damn because that's not their area. So you know, I tell people all the time, like, it's never gonna get better until you have a lieutenant that's black and a lieutenant that's white, and they live on the same block.
I think that when it comes to police officers having a voice, black police officers having a voice, I think they have a voice until they're too loud, right? The moment that the black cop go viral saying some real shit that actually like pertain to being black, that's when you hear be like, oh, they lost their job, or they suspended, or they whatever, and then like you be like, why? Because they got too loud. It got too real for them. So now they don't have a voice. They had a voice when like nobody was listening. Like, they're okay.
Yeah, it's a situation. Chris Dorner, I don't know if y'all know about him, but he had an issue when he was on the force and his partner was a white woman and she was overly aggressive and he didn't like it, so he reported it, got fired because he spoke up and felt betrayed and went nuts because he felt he was doing what was right. And ended up like being a vigilante and killing police officers.
He wasn't just killing them. This motherfucker was
slaughtering. You know,
he was, you know what I'm saying?
Trying to keep it, you know.
He was, so
he was taking ass out. He was on some Call of Duty type shit.
Yeah. But that's like, I think that's over time of pent up, you know, aggression. Yeah. And
he served in the military.
Right. And
you know what his PTSD or anything.
So, but like, that just kind of goes back to like, the whole foundation, you know, part of raising an African American child. So like, look, if I can get my son to understand, okay, it's always going to be racism in the world, but if you can get a job off of that's what you want to do and that's your passion, you know, like, let's just be honest, when you say you want to be a cop nowadays, it's just because it's a good job. You know, you got good benefits. You're gonna have your insurance, and they make, you know, 6 figures. They make a good little salary. But you know, they say they want to protect and serve. And nobody's really protecting and serving.
That's
you know what I'm saying. So it's just like, what are you doing? That, you know, somebody got to be, you know, saying, putting they, you know, lives, they're risking their lives every single day doing that. But if you have more African American males where they growing up with the necessary foundation and tools, where they can be like, man, I want to go into engineering, I want to go into IT, to the medical profession and stuff like that, then that's just taking that, you know, their voice will be heard, because now, you know, they're doing, you know, work that people can actually see and be like, man, well, I don't have to be a dang on officer, you know, no more, and deal with all this racial discrimination.
Yeah. So my question is, what's an ideal age to bringing that to your child's attention, especially young black male children?
I don't think it's an ideal age. Like I said, my son 10, he came to me with it. I was like, what's going on? He was like, they're looting. But if they wouldn't be looting and they wouldn't be burning things down and they wouldn't be protesting if the police were just held accountable, if they arrested those police officers, people wouldn't be doing that. Like, he's 10. He understood that concept. That's not something I talked about in front of him. Exactly. I was like,
I would say that like that 10 to 13, because I think that's the opportunity where they understand that, you know, who their friends are. They got best friends, you know. So if you're a parent, you're looking at your child's circle and it's not diverse, you know, I think, you know, that's a problem. You know, I understand that everybody, you know, where you live, like if you go to school and it's all black kids, you go to school and it's all white kids, then, you know, it may not be an opportunity to be diverse. But, you know, but that's up to the parents. So, you know, I try to put as much diversity into his life so he can see everything. So, you know, if he goes to a high school that's, you know, mixed, that's diverse, it's not the first time where, you know, he's seeing everything. Yeah. So, like, that 10 to 13 is a perfect conversation where they can understand, like, look, you know what's going on in the world. This is how you respond to it. Yeah. So, you know, like when you out with your friends, X, Y, and Z, somebody says something, okay, either you're going to ignore it or, you know, you're going to put up a fight with it, you know. And my thing is, just like with the N-word, like, how do we respond to that? Like, do you tell your kids that somebody call you the N-word, you know, like what, like, how was that conversation in the classroom?
Listen, square up. Tell them square up. If they ain't got, listen, I got something to say about the N-word, because I hate when I hear, if we stop using it, they'll stop using it. That's some BS, okay? Because I went to a school where, like I stated before, it was majority Mexican. It was a Catholic high school. It was majority Mexican. And it was a few blacks sprinkled in, a few whites sprinkled in. Them Mexicans use the N-word like they was one of us.
Oh, yeah. What's up,
you know what I'm saying? What's up, homie? What's up, my nigga? You
relax.
You be fam. Hold on. But it wasn't until I was in the 8th grade. I've always went to, for the most part, I've always went to a Catholic school. It was some time where I went to a public CPS school and it was majority black. I lived in a black neighborhood. So my CPS, my Chicago public school system, was majority black. So that's cool. But when my mom transferred us out of CPS and put us in Catholic school, them white kids, them Mexican kids, bruh, they used the N-word like they literally grew up in the hood. And it wasn't until then that I was like, coming home like, Ma, you know, Ryan used the N-word, but he white. Like, you know, I'm confused about this situation. I don't know exactly how to work with this. And she asked me, you know, my mom, and I definitely praise her for this, because she definitely had real life conversations with us. She's like, well, how it make you feel? And I was like, I felt disrespected. Like, who was he to call me a nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so she understood that. She was like, so maybe if that's your homie or if that's your classmate, you need to have a conversation with him. Tell him how it makes you feel. Maybe it'll change his mind on using it. And I did that. I followed, you know, my mom's.
That's dope.
I followed my mom's advice. I talked to him. He didn't realize it was derogatory at the time. Why? Because though he was living in the suburbs, his suburb was black. He grew up in a black suburb. He grew up with black kids. So I'm saying, nigga, fam, you can't say that. Like, let me tell you why you can't say that. Let me tell you who your great-great-granddaddy is. Let's talk about it real quick.
I know some white people or some white kids that grew up in black neighborhoods and they use it, but I think if you're around people that are comfortable with letting you use it, you can use it around them, but you can't just go around saying it. Mm-hmm.
My son, I don't tell him not to use the word. If we're going to go that route with this conversation, I don't tell him not to use the word. It don't bother me when he be, you know, he'll say it occasionally, like when he playing Fortnite, he get too heated. Nigga, what is you doing?
Well, he uses it a lot, that's you know what I'm saying, like, nigga, please.
But let me say something. I'm gonna say something. My son, for the most part, he is respectful around me, so I don't hear it much. When he say it, I peep in there. He like, my bad, ma. I'm like, okay, you know, let's chill out on the word. But I don't ban him from saying it. I don't make him feel like, you know, it's a punishment. It's a curse word. Like, nah, bro. Because I'm gonna be realistic. You went to a majority black school from kindergarten to 4th grade. He's getting ready to enter into the 5th grade. He's getting ready to go to a very mixed school because he's getting ready to go to school in his dad's district where his dad lives. And so now there's a different group of kids he's getting ready to be around. So just like you said, like when it comes to diversity, he played ball with all races of kids, Chinese, white, Mexican, black. He played with everybody. So he was just like, okay, whatever. But I'm like, how you think your Chinese friend feel when you call him nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't call you nigga without you going crazy. So like, why would you call him that? So me, like my mom had with me, those are the same conversations I try to have with my son, so he can understand, one, you can talk to me about anything, but two, I'm gonna give you the real. I'm not finna have you out here looking crazy. I'm gonna be your mama, and if you consider me, because my son consider me his best friend, I'm your best friend. Your best friend gonna be 100 with you. So I just try to make sure we go that route when it comes to that N-word.
Like, so like, when I'm raising my son to like feel this, when somebody uses the word nigger, what he feels, he understands where the origin, where it comes from, but I'm trying to take the power out of certain things because like my thought process is totally crazy. So like, think about it. So I'm just picturing my son, he just say he go to a predominantly white institution. He 19 years old. Say he's dating, is interracial. I imagine my son, if he play football or whatever, got a nice build, big kid, right? And, he can be Becky, Molly, or whatever. And somebody, high cap or whatever, be like, oh man, look at this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Or just, or you know what I'm saying? Or just, you know what I'm saying? Be, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Jalen, what's up, my nigga? And he reacts to it. Now he got to feel like, look, I got to do something more, you know what I'm saying? Because now I'm going to act off of this. And, he beats the kid up or whatever. Now that kid stays in school. My son, he just totally missed the opportunity. So, I'm trying to take the power out of words. And I tell you something that's even like more, like when I'm trying to condition him to it's just like, okay, it's one thing that I think that, a lot of black males are incarcerated for. We ought to understand that the root issues of systematic racism, all that. But I'm just saying is, when you growing up as a black child, nobody talks about nobody mama.
That's facts.
So it's just like, if a nigga say, Jalen, your mama, ugly, or your mama fat, or something like this, his first reaction, he finna go in. He finna go crazy. And that's the same thing, if a white person say the N-word. So it's just like, look, you're gonna lose every single time if, it's certain things that can get under your skin. So you got people that's smart, that's 60 years old, doctors, lawyers, or whatever. But if you say that word, then they back to the street, back to the hood mindset. So, I'm really just trying to take the power, out of this whole mindset and this train of thought. Just because, like me growing up, I went to, I was a privileged kid. I went to Catholic school my entire life. It was mostly black. Then I went to high school, Richards High School, Oak Lawn. And, it was a lot of racism, but I was the only African American on the baseball team. They called me Jackie Robinson.
See, that would have pissed me the fuck off. I would have been ready to fight.
And you know what I'm saying? But like, I'll say this though. What was so unique about it was I just kept playing ball.
Yeah, you definitely keep playing.
You know what I'm saying? But
don't motherfucking call my kid.
You literally had to be Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Those words trigger you, or else you off the team.
You off the team. That part. But let me tell you something. See, I'm a high head. That wasn't gonna work. We got to do something. Y'all ain't finna fucking call me Jackie Robinson. I might channel him in how I respond to the shit. But what we ain't gonna do, we need to have a meeting, coach. So what the fuck y'all ain't finna do is call me Jackie Robinson.
My mom did a great job. It was a Hispanic teacher, Mr. Montez. I made a good catch or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So it was a boy, and he cool, you know what I'm saying, with me to this day. He just was like, what's up, man, Jackie, you know what I'm saying? Just like, I was the only black kid on the team. I'm looking at it like, man, like, these my homies. I kicked it with them, after practice, on the weekends. I did, predominantly white sports. I did wrestling and baseball. So, I was used to them. Like, they was my homies. They wasn't racist at the time, but at the same time, we just didn't understand it. You know, I'm just thinking like these my homies. I know they not racist. They saying something just because I'm only black kid on the team. Just like, you know, how Jackie Robinson was, you know what I'm saying, 80 years, 50 years back, you know. So it's just like now moving forward, how do I parent, you know, my kid? Because like I just see it, like so many African Americans, they lose their opportunities off of words that we hold. You know, it's powerful to us that we hold, but still, like, if you can just say like, look, all right, cool, it don't matter.
Listen.
Then what?
Listen, I have a little brother. My little brother is, I'm old, y'all. He's like 7 years younger than me. My little brother, when I tell you knock the jaw off a motherfucker for calling him nigga at a party, knock the jaw off a motherfucker. Like, baby boy, it was just a hot ass mess. But when it boiled down to it, I called him, right? That's my little brother. I didn't grow up in a house with my brother and my youngest sister. We didn't grow up in a house together. We met actually when we were pretty much all grown. When I reached out to him, I said, yo, why you hit fam like that? Like, I watched the video. Why did you hit him? He was like, man, he was talking a whole bunch of shit. Then he was like, and that nigger over there. And he was like, and before I knew it, I blacked out. Now, my brother, his whole life, went to a predominantly white school. Was that the first time he heard nigger? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But that's the first time he reacted the way he reacted. And I said, you might have just blew every opportunity you just had. My brother played football. And not just play football as in, like, he's good. As in, might be entering the draft next year good. So it's just kind of like, bro, you got to think about your future when you had these type of, when you had these type of reactions. So I get what you're saying. Like, you have to definitely pull your kid in, rein them in a little bit. Hey, you can't react to every fucking thing. I did tell him there was a different way to react to that, because it definitely was a different way to react to that. But this is what ended up happening. He's in a predominantly white district in college, you know what I'm saying? A white judge. What happened? Because he played sports, he needed to do community service. And that was it. As long as that boy can talk and chew the correct way once he was done having surgery, because that's how hard he hit this motherfucker, he gonna be fine. You gonna be good. As long as he can do those things, you'll be fine. I was scared as hell. Like, Lord, please let this man be able to chew and talk. So my brother don't. Let me tell you something. The video, that nigga reached back to the ancestors and hit him.
It's a double standard. If that was a regular dude, if he didn't play sports, he would probably
been in jail. But because my brother plays sports, and he's not like he a big nigga. He only, I'll say height-wise, my brother's only like 5'10", 5'11". He's not tall, but he's stocky. So if he hits you, you gonna feel it, bro. This ain't finna be no little bitty-ass punch. When I tell y'all he reached back to the ancestors and punched dude, I saw dude's jaw, like, shift. I was like, damn, my brother going to jail. It's over with. Like, it's over with for him. In my head, I'm like, I am a lucky one that my brother's still alive, because that could have went so many different ways when the police got there. That could have went so many different ways when his parents got involved, but it didn't. The judge was like, look, you got this GPA in college, you doing this, you doing that, we good. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, for saving grace. But I was scared for him, because I'm like, did he just ruin his opportunity at the rest of his life?
You know what? And so what's so fascinating about that is, I will say this. People are smart. So as long as you doing something to help out that community as an African American athlete, it's still territory, it's still land to them. So you know what I'm saying? So it's taking it back to like, okay, you're not about to ruin my best slave or my best mandingo. If he filling seats,
that part.
Hey, well tell fucking McCormick, you know what I'm saying, Tyler, Eric, whoever it is, tell his ass, hey, don't fuck with that nigga. He cool.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, because we see this all the time with, African American athletes where they at Alabama where they, filling the seats. You see that Duke with Zion where it's just like
he can get away with whatever he want to get away with.
But I'll say this though, to a certain,
degree,
to a certain extent, because I don't know if that kid came from, a family of privilege. So if that kid, father was the, district attorney, things might have played a little bit different. So, so like I always say, things is just like funny, but this is like what I'm really trying to show my kid. It's just like when we talk about Duke, we can talk about Zion, but like I gotta tell my kid, what about those guys, saying with that on that lacrosse team? So you familiar with that?
What happened with the lacrosse team?
So it was like a group of Duke lacrosse players, and they was involved in the sexual assault, and majority of them had got off, with basically like a slap on the wrist. They didn't have to, do anything for like sexual assault, like community service, stuff like that. But you were here when as a black man, when you were athlete, NCAA, it's just like, look, bro.
Don't do shit.
Right. So like when you so you have to condition. So it's a lot of things that you have to understand. So you have to condition yourself. When you go down there, it's gonna be liquor, it's gonna be drugs, it's gonna be X, Y, and Z. So it's just like, look, they crazy. You know what I'm saying? They can party, they can do. So if you go and you hanging out with somebody, and she says, "Oh well, I didn't have consent."
It's over with.
It's over with.
So that's a conversation. Like I said, my son is 10. Not necessarily consent, that conversation. I ain't had that conversation yet. But there's a conversation that I definitely had with my son where, your homeboy, Billy, Bob, Zach, they're going to get away with some shit you will never be able to get away with. And I don't care how light you are. I don't care how well-spoken you are. They're going to definitely make your ass the scapegoat. So I need you to have more common sense than that. I need you to see when some shit ain't right, you need to get the fuck. Like, that's the conversation we have. It's time for you to get the fuck. Hey, I gotta go. Mama gonna kill me if she finds out I'm here. I want him to have that type of degree of shit, because it's just like, I don't ever want my son to be somebody else's scapegoat. Especially not your white friend's scapegoat. Like, what the hell? So now, he gonna take the rap for all y'all asses fucking up? Like, nah, we ain't doing that.
So let's put this in perspective, like, for the viewers. So like, if you a parent out there and your child is going to high school, what are you telling them to watch? What's the process for them to understand this? So we just gonna, so we just popcorn, B, you can chime in too. We just try to get like 10 things that we know that's on Netflix or YouTube, that's gonna help, like them get it together. So like me, like my son, he young, so he, he can't watch everything, now. But you got the 13th.
Oh, I watched that. I just recently
on
watched
Netflix.
that.
You know what I'm saying? So what's one?
So, though it was not necessarily meant for him to watch, I made my son watch When They See Us.
I done watched that about 20 times.
I made my son watch it, and we have a conversation every single time afterwards. If you ever get picked up by the police, you don't say shit. Ask for a lawyer and ask for me. That's it. We ain't having no other conversation. Don't you sign shit. Don't you ask for shit. Goodness. Period. Because that movie hurt me. I was like, what?
You know what's so crazy about that movie is, though, like, it's like, because I said so, it's so fucked up the way, I think it was Antoine Richardson, or it was, I might get the names mixed up, I apologize, but it was one of the guys in there where he listened exactly to what his father said. And that's crazy. Like, this is the title of this podcast because I said so. So, like, you living in a black culture, it's just like, man, you gonna listen to your fucking parents. His dad had that phantom, even though, it was some fucked up circumstances. He knew he was telling the truth. His dad told him to lie, but he listened to his dad. And that ended up changing his life forever. And that's a relationship, that he was just like, man, like,
he was never ever amended.
No, sir. No, sir.
Even when he died.
Yeah.
No, sir. And it's just to be like, his whole childhood was robbed just because he did what you're supposed to do. In the Bible.
Parents, yep.
Obey your parents. Listen to your people.
His dad, had a ulterior motive with that statement. Like, there was something at stake for him, which is why he told him to say that.
What you think was at stake?
I think his job. It was something. Had he told them something, he would have lost his job. I forgot what it was.
So I don't think that was the case. I think it was because his dad had been locked up. His dad had dealt with the police. His dad had kind of like been in a similar situation. Just say whatever they said you did. Say you did that shit so we can get the fuck. Like, get up out of here and do whatever the situation.
You know,
and so I think that was the issue. So for me, when I watched this movie as a mom, right? Because you both are speaking from like a male point of view. But as a mom, I want to protect. I'm a bear. I'm a mama bear. I want to protect my cub at all costs. Hey, don't you say a goddamn thing. And one of them, the character that Niecy Nash played for her son, the oldest one,
Corey Wise.
Yeah, Corey Wise. Corey Wise's mother was like, "Hey, no, something's wrong here. Something ain't right." And though she didn't have the most money. She wasn't the most educated out of the bunch. She wasn't there. She was kind of like, no, what's going on here? Something ain't right. I feel like that would have been me. That would have been me trying to figure out what's going on. Because what y'all ain't gonna do is put my baby under some fucking jail cell based off what y'all said he did. Like, so when I watched that movie, I rewatched it with my son. Because at 9 and 10, them babies was young. Them was some babies that went away for this shit.
It was piggyback. It was Anton McCrae.
Okay, yeah, mm-hmm. But there was some babies, and so for me, it was like my son 10. Lord forbid he out one night. I'm at work because I'm a single mama. At the end of the day, if he out doing something, or I told him to be in the house and he not at the house, I need him to understand like mama got your back. And the one thing I've always taught my son, from the time he can go to school to the time he is now and to the time he grown, you tell me the truth. We'll figure out the lie together. But you tell me the truth so I got your motherfucking back. Because if you lie to me, I can never help you. That's just what it is.
She Tasha from Power.
I'm Tasha from Power all day long. You know, and tell me what it is, baby, because I got you.
And here's the thing, with that whole situation. I think from a father perspective, we just have to reach out. And, brothers that's doing the right thing, brothers that's parenting well, whether you playing a part in your community, you know that your child has a friend and, his father is not active in his life, where you trying to, be an uncle or, be a father figure, that makes a difference. I think what that movie, didn't show was, it didn't show a lot of family support inside their lives. So like where was Anton McCrae uncle, or somebody else, said like they had like the churches and stuff like that, but like where was other people to educate, you know what I'm saying, these people that just felt powerless, when they went down to the police station. So just like the Mexican kid, Santana. His father did everything he could. His father, in that movie, his father, like, he maintained a relationship. But, like, man, when he went down there, why couldn't he call somebody else and be like, hey, man, this don't seem right, man. Come down here. And that's just what we got to do more of, a community when we don't know, when we feel like we, boxed in or, we don't have the answers. We have to be able to reach out to people. It doesn't have to be a lawyer all the time. We have to be able to reach out to a friend, a neighbor, somebody. You got somebody on that block, whatever block you live on. You got somebody on that block
that knows somebody.
That knows somebody that's educated enough to help you get out of the situation. And this is what a time like we come together. So like, I don't think that situation will ever happen now.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing with Corey Wise was he did the right thing,
What Corey Wise did was go with his friend to the police station. He was not in question.
No,
he was not in question. He's like, "Your mama gonna kill me if I don't go with you." So he went with his friend, and ain't had shit to do with nothing. But I will say this much: if that movie didn't show me nothing else as a single mom, and granted, my son's father is around. He's amazing with my kid. So I have no complaints when it comes to my kid's father. But if that movie didn't show me shit else, or that documentary didn't show me shit else, it showed me that it definitely takes a village to raise these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, if that was to happen now, everybody on my block gonna be like, who? Nah, bro, you got the wrong one. It's gonna be lit. Like, we gonna send that mug up. But in that time, that wasn't necessarily the case. Why? Because we had organized ghettos, we had organized Section 8, you got all this other stuff. People kind of stay into themselves in these silos, and it's not like that anymore. Now it's kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that movie, for me, was like, hold on, wait a minute.
Man.
Yeah, that was a powerful documentary. Powerful.
Shout out to Ava DuVernay.
She was killing shit. She was a part of the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
She was a part of the 13th. Like, she definitely out here making shit happen.
I'm trying to see. Yeah, so what's another one, that we can tell viewers, so we got the 13, we got
To be
When They
honest,
See Us. I throw another one out there, like, and I just watched it earlier, but like, I'm a big, buff, you know what I'm saying? Like, with just like Black empowerment and watching movies. So like, I watched the OJ trial.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And what's so crazy is I just was like, okay, what is OJ really doing now?
He in jail.
Nah, he's out.
Oh, he out?
Yeah, OJ.
Tell me something.
OJ out. And so like, he got a Twitter, so he been tweeting, and you know what I'm saying. Shout out to OJ. You know what I'm saying. I guess. But what I was saying is,
I guess.
But,
hey, they should have locked him up. They locked him up for stealing his own shit.
But what I'm saying is,
they locked him up for murder.
They locked him up for stealing his own shit, but it was based on the old murder, right?
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? But I'm saying though, like, as a parent, because I said so, like, how are you raised? So we talking about one of the greatest football players of all time,
the Juice.
So who was raised, who grew up poor, was raised the right way. Hey, you get the hell out of here. Go live somewhere. You know what I'm saying? His nickname was the mayor of Brentwood. You know what I'm saying? So that's a predominantly, white suburb, California. So he made his riches. He had a lot of, white friends golfing every single day. He was married, to a white woman who, he did, divorce Nicole. So it's just like, with all of that, how do you try to raise a child and say, I want you to, if you living in the projects or whatever, I want my son to get out of these circumstances, but how do you stay true? And, and I think what he failed to realize, he didn't stay true. You know what I'm saying? His best friend was black. It was AC, but AC was, a professional football player himself who made millions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it didn't have no ties to the civil rights or like the black movement or anything. So it's just like, you can raise your kids the right way, but then when you raise them the right way, are they seen to, let's adopt this European, like you know what I'm saying? Like, let's adopt this European lifestyle, and like, you forget everybody.
Yeah. So we could go on and on all day long about how we gonna raise our kids and what the hell they got going on. But we gotta wrap this up. So make sure you follow your girl at Cubana Ike on everything: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, Make Me Happen too. IG, Twitter. That's the only social media.
Because I said so. Because I said so.
Alright, that's what it is. So make sure you hit subscribe and hit like. We got you. Until then, TTYL.